toxic masculinity.
Adam Schiff's degenerate response. And I think this will infuriate us pretty nicely for the day. You ready?
No, the First Amendment protects Donald Trump and every American from the government regulating speech. It doesn't say that private companies need to use their platforms to air patent falsehoods that endanger the country, that incite insurrection. And so, no, I think Facebook is trying to have a consistent policy. At least its oversight board is trying to make sure that it is consistent in how it treats people. The president here is continuing to go out and push the big lie about the election, continuing, I think, to endanger our democracy by doing that. And so he continues to make the case that he would violate the policies if they readmitted him. And I think, frankly, pathologically, he's incapable of changing. So this is a temporary ban. It will likely be, if we're fortunate, a permanent ban.
So what this guy's saying, Adam Schiff, who is, by the way, a total piece of Schiff, is far worse than what this headline reads, that he thinks Trump is pathological and endangering our democracy. What he's saying is, Facebook needs to go even harder at Trump. This needs to be a permanent ban. What they've done is terrible and all this kind of stuff. Let me just say this. I believe certain things about the election, which I'm not going to say because I don't want to get this video taken down. But you guys know what I'm thinking, right? I'm not sure that the election was 100% legitimate. I have my doubts about that. And the truth is, lots of us have our doubts about that. And the people that I know, Dinesh D'Souza, my buddy Gorka, all these people in the media, everybody I know, my friend Elijah Schaefer, everybody who is a prominent media personality in any way whatsoever, all of us who doubt the validity of the result of the 2020 election, none of us doubt the validity of the result because of anything Trump has said. In fact, I think the reason Trump doubts the validity of the result is because of what we're saying. I don't think it's because he's like looked at the evidence himself and he's spotted the what do you call it, the abnormalities, or what were they calling those? Irregularities. I don't think he's seen the irregularities in the data, and he said, "Oh, I can see that this election was doctored." Trump isn't saying that. He's not saying I've done the research. We've all done the research, right? We've all looked into the data. I've actually taken the data from the New York Times that the New York Times was reporting the night of the election. I put it into an Excel spreadsheet myself, and I've run the numbers in various ways to make my own conclusions as to how things might have been doctored, right? And there are so many weird things about this election that don't make any sense and look like they could be signs of fraud, that not to question it is far less rational than questioning it, I think. And so for these journalists and for people like these people on Facebook and stuff, and for Adam Schiff and all these people to come out and say, it's because of Donald Trump that the protesters on January 6th believed that the election was fraudulent. It's Donald Trump's fault that they believed that. That's just not right. That's totally inaccurate. Okay. So even if you wanted to say that the protest was an insurrection, which it wasn't, even if you want to say that the protest was violent, which it wasn't, you still cannot make a viable claim that Donald Trump inspired it in any way whatsoever. So a lot of people originally were saying, well, his speech on that day inspired it. But the truth is, people were going to the Capitol before his speech was over. So that didn't make any sense. Some people were saying that he was somehow like personally encouraging people before January 6th to go raid the Capitol, which that's demonstrably false. So this idea that, Trump started the insurrection or inspired it on the day, that's been thoroughly debunked, right? So now the Democrats have fallen back onto this argument that, okay, well, maybe he didn't inspire the insurrection on the day, but what he did was because of his claim that he believed that the election results were doctored and the whole thing was invalid or that he really won or whatever, that all these Trump protesters believed the same thing, and then they went and stormed the Capitol, violently, which isn't true, but okay, whatever. They went and stormed the Capitol, and therefore it's Trump's fault because Trump believed that the election wasn't fair, and therefore because he believed it wasn't fair, other people didn't believe it was fair. So you're saying that if Trump believed the election wasn't fair, he's not allowed to say that because that could potentially inspire somebody to do something violent. That's insane. I'm not allowed to say something but the argument that they make, right, is that, well, no, Trump knows that the election was fair and he's knowingly spreading disinformation. I don't think that's remotely true. I don't think that Trump does believe that the election was fair. I think this idea that, he knows it was fair and he's willfully, lying to people. Well, if that's true, then we're all willfully lying to Republicans, which I don't think is even remotely believable. Is it believable that that all these major conservative reporters, these major conservative pundits, that we're all just like trying to lie to Trump supporters for some reason? I mean, I don't even know what the benefit of that would be. What's the benefit of that? Like, to me, if a Republican loses fairly in an election, which happens all the time, it happens in local races, it happens in state races, it happens in federal races, it happens, sometimes with the presidency. So what's the best course of action? Well, it's just to put all of our resources into the next race that we need to look into, right? We need to focus on shifting the culture. We need to focus on other things to fairly shift things in the other direction, right? It's pointless for us to focus on fraud or to focus on the doctoring of votes if there is no doctoring of votes, if there is no fraud. That's pointless. I don't think Dinesh D'Souza is a very reasonable person. Gorka, very reasonable person. I'm a very reasonable person. I think I'm a very reasonable person. Tucker Carlson, very reasonable person. All these folks, none of us are interested in doing something that's irrational or a waste of time. We are all interested in getting to the truth. We're all interested in justice. We're all interested in the system working accurately, fairly, and appropriately. And we're not gonna cause a fuss if we don't actually think that the system was flawed, that the system was cheated. We're not going to cause a fuss if that's not true. It's pointless for us. I think it's pointless. Look, I can't talk for everybody, but the reason why I assume that about them is because that's true about me. That's true about me. And I don't care what the left tries to tell their, gullible listeners. If they ever say that, I know the election was fair and I'm just spreading misinformation, they are lying, okay? They're lying because I'm telling you right now, that's not true. I say what I believe. That's it. I don't lie to anybody. I don't try to spread misinformation. I don't try to say anything that I'm not sure about. If I'm saying something I'm not sure about, I say this is speculation. I always say it. I'm very clear about that. All right. Chris Cole's coming down from being pissed off. Chris Cole's moving on to part 3. This will also piss you off, ladies and gentlemen. So this is going to be fun, huh? More stuff to be pissed off about. Oh, did I open that twice? That's kind of funny. All right, let's get into this. So this is the Biden administration's response to Trump's being banned yet again on Facebook. Let's listen to this.
Well, let me first say that this is an independent board's decision, and we're not going to have any comment on the future of the former president's social media platform. That's a decision that it sounds like the independent board punted back to Facebook to make in the next 6 months, as I know you all have reported. The president's view is that the major platforms have a responsibility related to the health and safety of all Americans to stop amplifying untrustworthy content, disinformation and misinformation, especially related to COVID-19, vaccinations, and elections. And we've seen that over the past several months, broadly speaking. I'm not placing any blame on any individual or group. We've seen it from a number of sources. He also supports better privacy protections and a robust antitrust program. So his view is that there's more that needs to be done to ensure that this type of misinformation, disinformation, damaging, sometimes life-threatening information is not going out.
All right, one thing that she said was really weird. She said antitrust. I think she made a mistake there, because antitrust is like, breaking up monopolies and stuff like that. So I don't think, I think what she meant is, breaking the public trust or something. I'm not really sure what she meant, but that doesn't make any sense.
Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.